welcome everybody. And I note that there are no apologies. I think we're all present. So, I know. So welcome everybody to the Estates Management Committee meeting. Declaration of any interest, EM 21193. Anybody, any disclosable pecuniary or declaring other interest? No. No, it doesn't look like we've got any interested parties to talk to us, and none are due to come to the meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting, held on the 22nd of February. Everybody would have a copy of these. I think they're glaring in relation to accuracy that we should make a note of. No? May I have a proposer for those, please? King, Councillor King. Seconder, Mr. Clark. All those in favour? Approved? Yes, thank you. I'll sign all of it.
Yeah, all of them, and then just sign and date the back one, please.
Still 22. Okay. EM 21196, reports and budgets. Receive income expenditure report for ODTC properties and open spaces. So, have we got anything on that? No?
I can't hear you,
Oh, sorry.
so I'm not able to say yes or no.
Okay. Okay, nothing on that. Receive monthly properties and open space update report.
That's the one we go through a little bit of time, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The one with the red in red, with the red, or is that the?
No, that's the last one. That's what
Last
we
one.
decided to do last month, and what we've,
Okay.
just an update as to what we've achieved on that.
Okay, open space report. Relocation rugby club, still ongoing. Flat in the house. Heaters,
Is there any news then on the tree locations at the rugby club?
not at the moment, no. I know the school have just planted, the plant on the weekend, 1,000, was it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was that many this time, but it might have been. There's a fair few.
The aim is 1,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Then we've got a date coming back to Flat in the House, we've got a date for the works, for the heaters and the
Not yet. I've spoken to one of the contractors, and he's chasing the other contractor who's just incredibly busy at the moment. So he said, if you don't hear anything from him by the end of this week, chase me and I'll chase him.
Is there anything else we need to chase about Flat in the House at the moment?
No, we just need to approve some bits and pieces that are on the for the fire alarm and
Okay.
the lift, passenger lift works that the insurers have done. That should be on here. Yes, it is. So the costs for the fire alarm, I was explaining to Liz earlier, the last visit we had from the fire alarm people was when they did the full health check on it and found that things, all the sensors, some of the sensors were labelled incorrectly, like in Liz's office, that was labelled as the downstairs disabled toilet.
Okay.
So we had to pay some money for them to relabel everything. But when they did that, the system was full health check and was healthy and fine. But they did flag up some potential failures because they said something in the report about there being high resistance on the loops, which means they could fail in the future. They hadn't failed, but they have at the end of February. So we've now got to put these ones right.
So which one are we agreeing to on here? The
The 197080.
1970.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's for the, well, they're listed there.
197080.
Yeah.
So you propose for that?
So I couldn't quite follow your budget,
There's no budget.
comments, yeah.
Yeah, they, well, because if you look on the budget, what we'd normally take it out of is 7234, which is Fletton House, lift, alarm, hand dryer, CCTV. But we've overspent on that budget. So when I was talking to Emma about it, she said it has to be
It
done.
has to be done.
So we'd have to take it out of the Fletton House repairs and maintenance, which is 7246.
Okay.
So, sorry, is those sensors been labelled wrong from the start then? So we never had it checked before?
Well, it has been checked, but it was one of those things about the labelling. When he found it, we've had loads of the sensors replaced. It's just been ongoing since I took over the job. In fact, when they did the full health check, it's the first time since I've been dealing with them that we've had a fully working fire alarm system. And I did say to them, I said, why are all these sensors failing? Because they were only put in, was it 2015? 2014, 2015? And he said they shouldn't. He said, because you're in quite a sterile environment. He said, if you were working in a sawmill or somewhere like that, then we do get a high rate of failure. But as each engineers come, they've found different faults and different problems. And then, as I say, this last fault, when he said, you do realise quite a lot of the detectors are labelled up wrong. So that's why he said you don't have to have the work done, but if somebody comes and there's an incident, it's going to make it awfully difficult to
Justify why they're done today.
But does
Yeah.
if they think the fire's down there and it's actually up here,
yes.
that's going to make a big difference.
Yes.
It's burning to death in my
Yeah.
office.
I know.
I'm looking for the
in the
men's
toilet.
Where are you?
At least it's not the right building.
Yes,
Yeah.
Start, yeah.
So we're putting it right.
Yes,
We're putting
yeah,
it right.
but
and
it's been an expensive old trip, definitely. So
there'll be nothing on in the indemnity premium, if anything.
So this was never picked up at snagging stage?
No.
I think is where you're coming
Yeah.
from.
no,
What you normally expect, I'm not going to make a big thing of it, I just find it bizarre that you can have fire alarm sensors that are not correctly labelled
Yeah.
for 7 years.
Yeah,
For part of the
something to,
insurance.
well, yeah, exactly, something to do. I think I haven't got the bits with it, but it's something to do with software and when I was reading through what they were doing to it, it's quite lengthy what they had to do to it. But yeah,
I tell you what, because sorry, Chair, through you,
That's right, no.
1 or 2 bits have come up in this building recently. It would be good to have a kind of clean bill of health thing
yes,
for it in terms of all the infrastructure.
Mm.
So the heating, fire alarms, just bits
Intruder
and
alarm,
bobs.
everything. Yes, I would love that.
Well, it's a safety issue, but it's also a council. It's a public building.
Yeah.
So it needs to be kind
spot on, yeah.
spot on. Really.
Well, they all do. We've got tenants in the QVH courthouse. Well, essentially, we've got a tenant in the QVH now, haven't we? So yes, I am trying to get them all up to date. We've been having like the electrical testing that hadn't been done, and then also we're getting this week and next week the fire risk assessments up to date as well. So yes, we're getting there, but it's a bit of an expensive trip, unfortunately.
Okay, so if we can return to the
Yeah,
Fletton House.
proposer in
1198.
second.
So we've got to approve the costs of replacement parts for the fire alarm, which is at, what's the price again? The
197080.
That needs a proposer.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second, councillor.
Keep it safe.
All those in favour?
Thank you.
And then 19802, we've got to approve the cost of replacement parts for the passenger lift, which, if we had anybody with any mobility needs, then I think that's something we need to do.
It's used all the time, that lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
So that price is, we've got it to hand.
650 plus that.
Yeah.
Is that what he was in doing today,
No, he was doing something else from another time, but yeah.
Something else. Okay.
We'll get the back back. We'll get the back back. We'll get the-
I'll have
Yeah.
to check, I would imagine so, yeah.
So that's 650. Fletton House R&M budget. Routine maintenance. So yeah, that's a proposal. Councillor Clark. Second. Councillor Holland. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you. Then we've then got the discuss increase in 19803, discuss increase in room rental rates and discounts offered to new groups and decide next steps. So there is another.
Has this come up because it's an annual thing or because someone asked for it, Lisa?
I'm just trying to think. I think
Because we did look at these
Yeah.
under Ian's guidance
It
in
was-
my time.
the
so-
two things were the discounts. I think you discussed that in full council though, didn't you? And I don't think well, I certainly don't remember these room rates going up since I've been here. It was Emma. Emma asked me to put it on to speak to you about it.
I was looking at the website and noticed at the beginning of March that the discounts we agreed were taken off. I think Emma thought it was just for the year, or till the end of the financial year. So we're now back to these ones as of the 2nd of March.
So what were they previous to this then? Sorry, is there another?
I can't remember what what were the
sort of increase
discounted
have we got to
rates?
do?
Ian, can you remember?
One of the discounts was that if you live locally, you could get 2 hours for each side. And that's gone. And another one, I can't remember if the room rates have gone up or not. See if I can find a document.
That was the main one I remember.
Okay. So we need to agree this, don't we?
Has anybody taken advantage, do you know, of that discounted rate?
I think a new mums and toddlers
Oh,
group
yes,
played.
they did.
I think they did. I don't know of any others. I'm afraid.
So I suppose the thing to ask is, are we happy with the higher rates as shown, as detailed in the document? Is there anything glaring that everybody wants to say in relation to oppose it?
I mean, it might be. I remember Emma saying something in terms of it'd be interesting to see what happens with our utility bills when they go up.
Yeah.
So whether it's something we want to keep an eye on and just watch for the future. But these rates have certainly been, I mean, I've been here 6 years and I don't think we've put them up since I've been here.
If we make a decision on these today though, when can we revisit it? What's the time frame? Can we revisit it in say 6 months' time, or is it 12?
I think you can't go back on a decision within 6 months. I think that's no. So,
So we'll have this for 6 months and then bring it back to the table in 6 months, do we?
Well, I think one of the questions is, did we decide to introduce new rates and keep them, or did we decide to introduce them for just a few months? And I can't recall, I think it was more permanent.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I think it's just permanent, I don't think there's a time limit, so I
No.
suppose it's visiting that. I think we agreed for the animal suite £10 an hour, the Cottstock room was £4 an hour. The Blackthorn room was £10 an hour. I think they were the ones that were live.
Right.
and that was just for new groups, to encourage new groups.
Well, yeah, that's the question that came up, what about the old groups? I had a quick look at the room catalogue, calendar just now, and for this week, the Blackthorn room is at 37% of its capacity. We assume it's 40 hours a week, roughly 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, including Saturdays bonus. It's booked for 15 hours. The Animal Suite is 1.5 hours. Cottstock room isn't booked. The Dance Suite is 80% of its time, 32 hours, and the Barnwell room isn't on offer. So we're running at less than 30%
It's built.
at the moment as a building. So, and I know we've lost, if you was watching a group on Facebook that came and they've now gone to the library. They were reckoning they were spending £43 a month to be here, and they can go there for 20. So there is a price differential. And if I wanted to hot desk, say, I could use the Cottstock room here, or I could go into Peterborough and I can use the Eco Innovation Centre for £4 an hour, and I get free coffee there in a room on my own. So you think we've got to be price sensitive. It strikes me as well that we are sort of here as a bit of a social good, aren't we? Lots of people are paying by their precept. If you're a resident, then getting a good rate here is a good thing. that's what we should be doing. So I think it needs to be competitive at least, because a lot of the costs we have in the building are fixed. The lift is going to cost us money whether we have people in the rooms or not.
Is it, how are we marketing? How are we marketing it?
We have brochures, but I think they were published back in 2015 or 16 or 17. I've just been down to, I had a stash that I tried to give out at the farmers market in December. I've just been down to the QBH to give them out today, and they've got some on display, and they've got a box of them to give out.
There's still some boxes
yeah,
there,
It
yeah.
just
not
doesn't
huge.
seem like there's been, I haven't seen anything social media aside from pushing
We put a few things out. We put a few things out, and we put the online calendars.
and on the LCD boards as well.
Put a few things out, but I think a lot of people have come here and they found that it's expensive.
Right.
And I think the group that have moved said that they've also had to put insurance in place, whereas at the library they've been included on the library's insurance, and that's a big saving. Yeah, that's a big saving. So it maybe is worth us looking at the whole package, because with the hub being the big push at the moment, in getting people in to use the building, the more people we can use in the building, the better.
Hopefully there'll be a knock-on effect from that.
Because this says, high rates are subject to an annual review, so if we sign up to this today, then we're looking at it in 12 months' time. Councillor.
Where I work in Bedford and Luton, if we do away days, we go to, I can't remember the name, it's a town council, it's no different to this. Everyone does away days at this town council. They get offered rooms, breakout rooms, IT, some basic food, and we get charged a lot for it, but it's nowhere near as expensive as going to a hotel to do away days and stuff like that. So I don't know, because we've got parking and everything, I'm not sure that we're thinking maybe big enough.
Well, I think that was the idea of the hub space manager, wasn't it, for more things like that. And I know there was a couple of councillors that spoke about it as well. They even spoke about, sort of pre-wedding receptions, as in just providing a glass of champagne and things like that. So there has been quite a lot of talk about utilising the building in a much better way.
You could get all junior consultants from Peterborough Hospital in that room across the way there for a whole day, doing new consultant development days. But I think we don't think, perhaps maybe we need to think a bit bigger.
Well, I think that's why, like I say, that's why we're wanting the hub manager, isn't it?
I think that's a positive step. But what I mean is, I'm not sure the indigenous groups are going to be enough. We might need to cast our net now, because this is a fabulous building in loads of ways.
But then we have corporate rates and social rates, don't we, here? I suppose the question is, corporate rates, are we up there in the big world? Again, looking at Peterborough rates, you can get a room for 40 for £35, 8, £25, so we're pretty competitive for those. But it's
But our utilisation is so low, that's the point.
Yeah, but
But
it's
unless
some
you're
of the
looking
community
for
groups.
those groups that would use it like that, I don't think people, they will go looking for pre-existing.
And they want the delegate rates for everything.
Including food and
That's the things, the staffing.
I can't remember this town case, literally town council. I'll send you around the facilities that are offered in this particular, it's no bigger than Eldon. But I'll show you what the potential might be.
So going back then, as it currently stands, are we agreeing to the rates as written? And are we going to review it have an annual review, or are we going to look at it in 6 months' time in light of possible fuel increase, utility bill increase? That's the question.
I'm not sure there's much enthusiasm for an upward move, even perhaps in 6 months' time, but it's, I suppose, shouldn't.
Should we fix it for 12 months and see how
But backwards.
Well, that's the question, is should we go back to the discounts, or do we stick with the ones that we've got in front of us? I think we should push the discounts, and with the hub manager, hopefully bringing more people in, who can then say, well, I'd like to do more stuff here in other buildings.
Is it worth us fixing doing this, and then with the hub manager coming in, the hub manager can then come back to us as estates and say, this is what I've come up with, and that could include.
I haven't got the club manager marketing Fletton House specifically. What I said to Emma was that I could see that as he or she went out looking for business,
Yeah.
they may think, oh, well, the hub isn't quite the right place, and always have a Fletton House brochure with them, you know,
Yeah.
and know the cost. But they're not going to be tasked with marketing the whole building. If that's what you want, we need to be tweaking the job description fairly quick.
It wasn't that, it was more the fact that if, once we get it up and running with these rates, the manager may just say, actually, I want to enhance how Fletton House is running, and I think we may need to do this with it. That's not changing the job, that doesn't need a job description, that's just part and parcel being the manager, surely. Or am I missing something? If the manager says, oh, actually, I've got these rates, but actually I want to look at some discounted rates, they'll bring that to the estate, won't they?
For the hub, yes, that's only
Yeah.
one of the rates, isn't it? You know, we're looking at a lot more than.
But it might broaden it out
It
in
will.
light of the fact that
Yeah.
they might say, well, actually, I'm not a manager, but obviously I've got these other rooms who actually I want to enhance, and that's when we look at another paper, but at the moment, we've only got this in front of us, we've got nothing else. There's nothing else to suggest, there's no discounted things on here.
But is that then suggesting that we're looking smaller by just looking at the hub, or are you suggesting that there's somebody that's looking after Fletton House in that broader sense?
Well, I think obviously the hub manager is going to look after downstairs the hub,
Mhm.
but if there are issues in relation to when that starts getting used, that there's other rooms that want to be used for other things, then that's when a question has to be had with the hub manager. And then bring that back to the States, that would be how I would do it. Unless anybody thinks it's to be any different.
I think that's an inevitability, but that isn't proactively
No,
going out and
that's right,
marketing
no,
Fletton
absolutely,
House. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
I get that. So the point is, we've been asked to agree this on an annual review,
Yeah.
but that could change subject to how the hub works. with-
Well, why don't we just say nominally for a year, but we've also got to take into account COVID in the sense of how quickly things are now going to gain a momentum. Do you see what I mean? I was talking to Anne Holland from the U3A today, and certain of their classes have now folded. And they don't know they aren't being one of them, which takes place here, by the way. That's not going to take place because they can't get anybody to run it. So there are a number of those kind of factors as well. So why can't we put in a clause as well that we may have to adapt according to
So do we need to
conditions?
not include an annual review then?
Can't give ourselves, I know that councils in general are not allowed to revisit decisions unless it's within 6 months, but there are ways around that, you know, we can petition and you can. So why don't we say, we keep this under constant review?
I think that's reasonable.
You could, you
Okay.
wouldn't then have to, changing decisions before 6 months is actually difficult.
Yeah, but you can do it, you
But
can.
why don't we just have a clause saying we can,
So-
but we don't have
Team
to
and, yeah,
bother,
So what we're saying then
which
is
is the chair.
that the estates,
to review or something. That's it.
the estates committee agreed with the current, with the higher rates as written. But this could be subject to review.
Yeah,
Plus,
So we're
bring back a
agreeing to
discount.
the present ones or the
We're
ones at the
agreeing
beginning of the month?
We're agreeing to these, aren't we?
And the discounted ones
And the
still,
discounted
and the
ones.
discounted.
so are the discounts for new ones, or, because before they got treated in a bit of a,
It was to
Way.
encourage new groups in, wasn't it, Ian, I think,
yeah,
to
that's
start
what
off
I
with.
I think so, I don't know how it's been applied.
Can we
Yeah, well, I think we've only had the
reinstate
one.
market push, with marketing push, to try and just see if that breathes a bit of life into it and.
So was that a proposal?
I think that, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm here, so I do see what the staff are doing to some extent. Sorry to just call you staff there, Lisa, no, I mean, you and Rebecca. Well, I don't see that so much, I'm sure she does work. And I would say that at the moment, with the Jubilee stuff coming up, probably now isn't the time to say to Rebecca, oh, and on top of all that, could you
No,
start
yeah,
marketing?
definitely.
But it hasn't.
Yeah,
By all means, let's have it as an action for 2022. But I would suggest, rather
Put it on the
than
back burner.
increase the pressure,
July onwards.
Put it on the
something
back
like
burner.
that,
Absolutely.
Second half of the year.
yeah.
There you go.
It needs it.
Yeah.
but it's not.
No,
going
I think that's
to-
right, but I think we just, if we want to see any change from that, rather than
Yeah.
being here in
And
6
then the
months'
hub
time and going,
manager would be in, and if they come in with any experience, they'll be able to input to the meeting on how to do that.
sensible, yes.
So,
So can we agree then, agree the rates with the discounts?
Yeah.
Reviewable.
as we want
And
to.
then
Do you want me to
marketing
put reviewable on a monthly basis?
As needed.
Or as needed,
required,
yeah.
As required, and then,
And that's
future marketing, post.
mid 2022,
It's
yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So then we've got the update C report.
Oh, we haven't actually got a report.
No.
So the coffee machine is on hold because we made a very late decision to go to cashless. And there's been some toing and froing on who's going to own that contract. That's how, as far as I understand it, been resolved, and therefore the add-on to the machine can be ordered. But I don't know, I think between us, Emma and I we miss each other quite often. I'm just about to go on holiday as well, so I haven't actually had an update from her for
Okay.
a week or so.
Do you want me
So
to
it's
chase her
pending.
tomorrow? She's in tomorrow.
Oh,
so-
okay, yeah, I mean, I will be in and out tomorrow, but, so there's that, and then the hub manager job has been advertised locally. As of Friday, I believe there was only one person who'd shown a genuine interest, but I said to Emma, weekends, give them a couple of weekends. If you can't decide in the first couple of days that it's up and running, that there's not going to be any interest, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Quick question on that. If we don't get a lot of interest, do we go more widely, or do we need to look at the job description again and the market and pay rates and that sort of thing? I don't know, what's the next step? Go further.
So,
I think the pay rate may have an impact on how many people will be interested in the job. And of course, I don't know whether that rate, I assume that rate was set after the new rates came in, because we've only just had them, haven't we, for local authorities. So they may already be slightly out of date anyway. Yeah, so I think I don't want to spend more money. So if a few less hours and a bit more money, might make it more attractive, then that might be one thing to look at. But let's see who comes forward, because partly, even if we got 6 candidates, but they're all, not even worth looking at, that tells you something. But if you get 2 really good candidates, then you think, okay,
So
we did,
how
which is
long's the
right.
advert? It's gone out, when's it closing date? The advert?
Anyone got their social media up? It's on there, I don't know.
I want to say it's the 12th, but
So we've got one applicant, there's actually applications in, or?
No,
it's
it
question
wasn't at
interest?
that
Oh,
point, they'd had a long conversation with Emma,
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I remember.
Right, okay. So we've got a bit of time and we'll.
Yeah, we haven't had any weekends at
Yeah.
that point.
Friday the 8th of April.
Oh, okay, so it's quite a week.
I knew that I'd allowed 2 weekends for sure for people to, I'm always amazed how many I get on a Monday morning when I set the deadline at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. There they are, just before. Yes. So,
Okay. Next item is asbestos in QVH. There's nothing else on that, was there? Sorry.
no, that's that. Yeah, we are where we are now.
So then we've
Waiting game.
got, there is an item on here, optimum asbestos solutions.
I was surprised it was the QBH because I thought it was Yeah, Joan Strong.
No, we've had that one done.
No, that's
That's
fine.
that's
Oh, I see.
done
Yeah.
and dusted. So because of the Joan Strong one, Emma and I were talking about it, and we said we should get an up-to-date one on all of the buildings really. And I was very surprised when I got this back, and he basically said in the reports, I sent him the old reports, and there's nothing, according to that, there's nothing in the courthouse, which I'm very surprised about. But he said because it is an old report, if you want me to do another report on the QVH just to double check, which in my mind, I kind of think, yes, I would quite like that in view of some of the issues that we've experienced with this building and other buildings, finding things that we didn't know existed, did.
We had a very expensive big refurb of the QVH, it would have come up then.
Yes, well, when was that done? 2009 is the last survey we've got on the QVH. Yeah. So, so it's whether you want to just go with the re-inspection for the QVH, or whether you want him to double check the courthouse as well. So it's 495 if you just want the QVH, or 1195 if you want both.
Is it sensible to?
What changed? I mean, asbestos is over there in 2009. Nobody's put it in since, have they?
No.
No, but
If there's any damage to different things.
Yeah. That's what
if you have electrical people, I know when we had something done in the courthouse, one of the electricians said he wasn't sure whether one of the ceilings contained asbestos. So we called somebody in to check, and they just said no, but obviously he checked before drilling.
So he's suggesting visiting all sites for 1195, or we just do the QVH? You'll prefer this, we do them all?
I just think if you've got an up-to-date report, he might
Right.
find something that wasn't found
Can it be the
before.
last one then, the definitive version?
Yeah.
Printed in tablets of stone somewhere.
I mean, you're supposed to have, I don't quite understand it, to be fair. I need to speak to this chap in a bit more detail, because he said you should have an annual re-inspection, but unless something's done, like with the Joan Strong Centre, somebody said, well, you've replaced the roofs, the asbestos roofs on the garage. And I said, we haven't replaced them, they've just been repaired. So they've not been moved, nothing has essentially been changed. But yeah, I'll have to look into this more, because unless something's changed in the building, I'm not sure why we have to have them re-inspected, but I will have a look into that.
Yeah, can we? Because I'm sure that if the point of asbestos survey is that it gives you a definitive answer, and if you've got asbestos,
That it's there and you just be careful, yeah.
Well, you can't disturb it.
No, and then you have to be careful if you do remove it.
We
Yeah.
haven't done anything to that building, QVH, which is a trustee issue as well, which I'm going to bring up, but we haven't done anything to the QVH substantively after the £500,000 refurb in 2009. So when all of that work would have been done. So I'm a bit bemused, if I'm honest, about why we need another one.
But
I'm not.
No, well, I.
2009. So,
Yeah, but what's changed
yeah.
since
Nothing's
Yeah, but if
changed.
nothing's changed.
Complete refurbishment, wasn't it?
Yeah, the whole
Building
thing.
practice.
I'll double check then before we do anything. I'll double check about that then, to get a better understanding of.
Read your insurance policy.
Yeah, it's.
Because if they say every 10 years,
Yeah.
they're
Yes.
already out of date.
Yeah.
But if they make no mention, then they're taking the risk for us anyway, to some extent.
Okay.
Is it that if you do have an identified asbestos source, you have to show that it's continuing to not degrade? Is it simple as that?
Could be, or it could be building movement. I suppose anything, couldn't
Well,
it?
we
Really.
used to have an asbestos system
Yeah.
in the toilet that had to be checked every year just to make sure it wasn't flaking. Probably
Fibres.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that a bit further.
And I would either ask the insurers or read the policy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll ask him.
So we're not making any agreement on that at the moment.
No, correct.
So EM 21202, discuss the option to choose a supplier and approve costs for replacement chairs. And then we've been given the information as of
Earlier tonight.
today. Thank you.
Did you see these now? What's on chairs?
3-year warranty on the frame. in range favourites with longer warranty. That's in
Pictures on
big
there.
letters. If you were to be guided anywhere, I think
Yeah.
that's something that just.
Plus the fact it's the best colour and the nicest fabric, although I haven't got the samples
Okay,
through yet.
So what is the colour on that? Is that grey?
It's like a purpley grey,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm assuming that when we do finally have the QVH decorated again, we're going to stay with that colour.
Well, once we bought this furniture.
We'll have to, yeah.
Yes, you'll have to do it, yeah.
No. Because my first reaction was, it looked awful.
Really?
No, because I don't like tartan. But
Right.
then.
You
it's
don't
the
like
colours.
bunting, you don't like
I don't like
tartan.
Is it?
I'm very, very good.
You've got
Which
no
one is it?
taste.
Which one is it?
It's appeared today.
Is it that one? Is it that one? Is it that one?
Oh, no.
No,
It's
this
the
one.
Tuscany
Tugs.
Lana, yeah, tub.
Tuscany Lana.
It arrived today on the
QVH
separate
for
email.
you.
Where's this
It's
for?
that one. That
The
one.
QVH, you know the tatty leather or pleather chairs that are all falling apart in the QVH foyer?
Tuscany
Oh,
Lana.
those.
Yes.
Oh,
Tuscany
fine,
Lana,
right,
purple
yeah.
tartan, crib
Yeah.
side
Trying to
fabric
think where
tub
we're
chair.
going to-
That might be useful.
And you don't like colour.
Not for me.
You don't like
I like talk chairs, but I'll go with it. I'm not.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
cost-
there's a light for light replacement if you want the nice pleathers.
No.
No,
I didn't have, no.
we're gonna go something different.
So now,
We thought as well with the tartan it would hide any marks and stuff like that. If you're not going to go for the pleather, you need something that will hide. Yeah. Well, they could be obviously be cleaned a lot easier as well. I've
They
lost the
are
pleather.
1798, aren't they? 1798.
Yeah, the pleather ones,
80.
yeah.
Yeah. Just they need something to be cold.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
It's
the
that
same thing will
material.
happen,
Yeah.
that they'll create a hoovering issue.
fabric chair.
So we've got 1798 for the brown faux tub chair by Trent.
Don't
Oh,
desire.
we've got the more expensive. Where's it gone?
Have we made a decision?
We're about to, aren't we? 2,100. So there's not much difference between them, is
Yeah.
Or you can go for the pure wool tartan ones with Ruskell at 4,500.
Don't ask committees to design anything, 'cause you'll end up with something you didn't start
it? You would.
Here's a diagram I've done.
So which one are we going for then?
I like that one personally, for what it's worth.
Which one? Is that the grey one?
Yeah.
The grey tartan.
But I'll go with whatever, I'm not gonna, it's not. it's not-
I
I'm not
quite like
change
the
my
grey
mind.
as well, but I don't know, it doesn't go with the colour scheme, does it?
That is the problem, is that purple is the right purple.
And in a way, you're right, in terms of stain, that detracts from anything.
Yeah. I think so too. I
It's
think that's a good
practical in
point.
that respect.
Yeah.
Let's go with it then.
Good.
Does somebody want to propose it?
Yes.
Which one are we going for?
You don't need.
I'll propose it.
Well,
Well,
are we agreeing?
I'll second
Are we-
it.
All right, are we agreeing to spend £2,199.90 on 12 Tuscany Lana purple tartan crib 5 fabric tub chair?
We are indeed.
Begrudgingly,
Marvellous. And they'll be delivered within the next 2 to 4 weeks, subject to whatever else.
What we doing with the old chair?
All those in favour? Yeah,
Excellent.
what are we doing with the old chairs?
We're offering them to people who want them for free.
Oh, yeah, how would we do that?
Just lay them out.
I'll
Just put them at the front of the QVH.
Put them in, put them
Take
in the
photos,
QVH
put them
and
on
say,
Facebook.
if you want a tub chair, come down,
Count
pick it up.
it
Yeah.
It will literally be crawling.
Do what they
It
did.
will, yeah.
Put them on the pavement.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're on by the next
So
Yeah,
the
put
council
£5
can
in the
play
charity
in the
box.
footpath.
As soon as we get delivery date,
Yeah.
let us know.
If anybody's listening now, they'll be out there tomorrow morning.
Poor old Rowan won't have anything to sit on tomorrow, they'll have taken it all. Okay, thank you.
Done, that was easy. Right.
Should have gone grey.
Oh, yeah, that'll be-
Well, if the swatch comes, because I have ordered a swatch, if I take the swatch down there and it's not very good.
I won't like the swatch there,
Right, where are we?
Portals.
Just trying to find
21 to go.
Right.
2022 courthouse update C report. Courthouse. Courthouse.
Oh, not really too much. The periodical
Yeah.
electrical
Electrical
testings,
testing's been done.
which has
Weekends,
been
11.
proved to be quite difficult to organise because
Okay.
obviously the electricity's got to go off, so lots of the tenants are panicking.
It's Easter, of course, they might be able to say.
Can I just ask a question? What's this hair accumulation from?
The barbers.
Okay.
It happened the same with hairlock grooming had the same because they have hair particles. No matter how careful they are and how much they hoover up and clear up, there's certain elements of hair that get into the
And
heaters.
so who's paying for that particular?
Well, we paid for the last one in the dog groomers. So Emma said if it is a potential fire hazard, we've got to get it sorted. We've got to get a suitable heater. And what we did for one of the other tenants who wanted a really non-standard heater, which was double the price, we charged them the extra. So we said we will pay for a standard replacement heater, but if you want something that's much more expensive so that it looks chic, you'll have to pay the difference. So Emma said as long as they don't want something, extortionately expensive, then we're happy to replace it for them to make sure it's not a fire hazard.
So I'm a bit confused because they're creating the problem and we're paying to sort it. And then we're going to do that over and over again?
There are heaters on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose if it happens again, then we'd have to say to them, it's, as a result, because of your industry, I suppose.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
It's a
in this
specialist
instance.
problem, isn't it? We can't keep on.
I mean, it shouldn't happen because the units, when we described to Sadler's the problem, we said, is there any kind of unit that that is more contained that will keep the hair out, which is what he has replaced the other one with. So we've gone for the same. So hopefully it shouldn't happen this time. But if it does, then
the one's going in as a radiator, and the present one has got like gaps.
I think it's got holes in it that things get into. So hopefully, but we'll keep an eye on it. If it happens again, then yes, I think we should say to them, it's a result of the industry that you're in, so they should at least contribute. Yeah. That was that.
So then we've got car park, 202.
This Friday, the potholes in the entrance to our car park here are due to be sorted, so that will be good.
Yeah. Okay. I noticed all the hedges have been cut near
Fern Road.
as well. Fern
Yeah.
Road, that's good.
Yeah, it looks much better now,
Yeah,
much
it does,
tidier.
so. Then we've got toilets, previous food drain survey, cleaning scheduled, redecoration quotes being obtained. We've got one on here, haven't we?
I've finally got the second one.
Yeah.
The third one, unfortunately, he admitted today he's just too busy. He's not even had the chance to have a look at it. So I don't know whether you want me to wait and look for another one or decide on the
We've
ones
got two
we've
at the
got.
moment.
Got two, yeah.
Can we make a decision to crack on?
Yes, you certainly can if you want.
We've
But
got
that
one,
amount,
1415.
And they're so different, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think one of them is more thorough.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
looking at the metal doors and all that sort of stuff.
And I did meet him on
Yeah,
site and we
yeah,
went through it all.
service.
Whereas,
If he can get it done by the Jubilee, so we've got shiny toilets,
Very nice.
that sounds a good idea.
Yeah.
And there'll be platinum then.
so we're going with grey and nickel, yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Can I
going.
have a proposer in a second?
Is that you side then?
You said,
Yeah.
I'll propose that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All those in favour?
Fabulous, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a chance that you can do it by that date, do you think, Lisa, did you talk
Yeah,
about it?
before-
I'll certainly try and
Mention
Yeah,
it at
yeah.
least.
Free Jubilee advertising.
Put a sign on it.
Bunting.
yes,
Well,
because
it's
we've got some new signs as well for the front, and I'm trying to organise the guttering to be replaced as well. So
Yeah, that does-
at least it'll look nice from the outside as well. Okie dokie.
Okay, then we've got the play area skate park, basketball court. Panels, play panels are ordered,
Yeah,
scheduled for May.
yeah, that fault,
Yeah, what, yeah,
it was on some sort of, again, they're called British Engineering, and they come and do the checks on like the lift and those sorts of pieces of equipment, for our insurers. And there's certain things that they say, get it fixed by next visit, or other things like this one that they said, you've got to do it now, needs to be closed down. Something about a chain that had worn, and some clips that were incorrectly fitted. So we called RPM in because they're the ones that we deal with quite regularly. And they came in and fixed it so that it was ready to go again. But again, because it was an issue of safety, Emma authorised it straight away to get it done. Because with a lot of those things on the wreck, even if you put signs on it saying they're closed, it's very difficult to police it. And if somebody gets hurt, then it's just not worth taking the risk. So that was just for report only, really.
But it did say to me that when I've been involved with playgrounds before, we've always had very regular checks.
The reports,
Just by staff.
Yeah.
So to miss something like chain wearing says to me that perhaps that's not been done thoroughly enough, or
Well, it's
everyone can at least
It's a
learn
monthly.
from
Yeah.
what they consider to be.
a bit difficult, really, because this company, which changed fairly recently, so within the last 2 years, our insurers, whether we changed the insurers and changed the engineers that come and look at it, but lots of things they were phoning me up for and saying that they needed that the last company never did. And there seems to be they seem to be doing a lot more in-depth checks, but then, like you say, this bit seemed to have been missed. So I don't know. I mean, you go with them because you think they're the experts that,
I agree,
that
once
do
you've been
that.
told, you have to
Yeah.
do it,
Mm.
but a chain wearing.
Because it's not going to have happened.
Picked
Yeah.
up in time for us to have made a decision
Mm.
ahead of it becoming an emergency.
Mm.
It feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a chain that's in something, or is it
Yeah, I don't know.
described as a unit? I don't know what it is. Periodic.
so who does the cursory checks of all the equipment? It's
The maintenance chaps do a
Maintenance
weekly check of everything. Yeah.
and that's to comply with the insurance.
Yeah. And then the insurers send British Engineering.
And they send it out how often?
I think it's once a year for the playground equipment, lifts and things like that, 6 monthly.
Right.
But yeah, they're all checked regularly, and they obviously, same like an MOT, there's certain things that are a failure and you
Yeah.
have to get them done straight away. And then there's another area, like with the play park in item number 7, which is like advisories. There was a big long list of things, and it can be something like a missing rivet, missing bolt,
Yeah.
but things that aren't deemed to put people's safety in jeopardy immediately, but things that need looking at,
So I suppose the answer is, are we carrying out sufficient checks
Yes,
of
I
our
think we are.
equipment in the right way, or do we need to do a little bit more in depth every month? Or,
I'll get Emma to check with the insurers what's expected of us, because obviously to somebody who's not trained like these engineers are, I mean, he was talking about 10% wear on things is not acceptable, but I mean, our guys don't know all of that.
What they offer in terms of a regular sort of, apart from, I suppose, a yearly one, do they offer a service where they come more regular?
Yeah.
And do more tests?
They are super expensive.
And they will be, but so is a gross negligence
Yeah.
slaughter.
We've always complied with what's been asked.
Yeah, you have to, yeah.
Always, we've never.
I'll put this, I dealt with an incident involving a slide, and the chair of the parish council, particular parish council, was facing gross negligence slaughter along with the clerk for not doing due diligence checks. So, and that was from a young boy that died from going down a slide.
Yes.
So it might well cost bit of money, but it's well worth the safeguards that it offers us as a council and the employees of the council. Just to be. So I'd like that at least if we could.
Yeah.
Property spaces, oh no, basketball court, that was all completed, that all looks very lovely. That's been used like that, I mean, it is, yeah.
It is. I've got to say, I've heard so many positive things about the entire space over there. It's
Getting well
it's
used.
getting really well used.
And the skate park, I've jumped skate park actually, so. Anything else on the skate park?
No, I think we just need to find out when we're going to get
This one over
Maverick here.
Yeah.
To meet up with people and take it from there. Sooner than later.
Then we've got spaces, Snipe Meadow, signage plan, green spaces, wild flower plan, fencing completed, pasture front, new gate, lease completed and signed by both parties.
Almost ready to get cowed up. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
Put the count in, yeah.
I couldn't think of another better way to put it, so that's how I would express it, so that's how it's
Somewhere
going.
else it says something.
We're moving in the right direction.
You've just written the social media.
Nothing else for that, sorry.
Somewhere else it says something about the cow's landing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Parachuting in.
Yeah, like it. Trees. Trees. We've had some movement of trees as well. We've got some gone in. We have. Something's gone in. That's good.
If we don't want to be pinned down to locations too much at the minute, I think we just need to get a number so that I can start making sure we get our order put in.
This is going to go Jubilee trees.
Yeah, because it says start
It says spring
open
22.
spring 22. It doesn't say
Okay.
month, but I need to keep my eye on that because we don't want that to come and go. And
And what trees can we have? Like,
depends where you put them.
oh, okay.
Because I think I read something somewhere, I can't remember where, somebody had suggested a particular tree.
Was
And
that on
somebody
the-
had said about flooding
Was
that
that
they
on
don't,
greengrocer's land?
could have been, yeah, I can't remember
So
where I
There's a lot
read
of talk
it.
down there about Scots pines and stuff, but we're primarily looking at broadleaf, I suppose, aren't we? So
Yeah,
hornbeams and things like that.
There are particular trees for this area because of the old shoe industry and the tanning, like oak trees and, as you say, the Scots pines, etc., not for tanning, but they are particular. So it would be nice, wouldn't it, to get a tree that's totally appropriate
yeah,
in
yeah.
historic terms. Philip Rose, I think, he got a very big survey done of the trees for that reason,
Mm.
because he owns the water meadows.
Mm.
We have had this offer that I wasn't going to put last week, but it was in the report from an I can't remember his job title, who works in Peterborough. He was a landscape architect, who's happy to give us advice on such things. So we can ask him if he's got any ideas on
Yeah,
what's a good tree to put in.
yeah, and I'll ask Philip for the same
So we
sort
can
of
offer it.
thing. Yeah.
But the sooner the better. because-
Yeah.
Okay. 207 projects, nothing to report.
Just
Oh,
quickly, this
tree.
tree, Prince William tree,
Okay.
I can't really say anything more now because the tree officer who's struggling said to me, try and get to see it today, but well, hang on, let me just see if he's come back to me.
I was going to wonder if I haven't had a chance to go and see it. And obviously he claims it's got a fungal growth. Emeritus shaggy bracket, it claims to be called.
Yeah, he's
But
not.
I'm not sure whether the whole thing's there or just a bit of it.
We need to get an opinion on that. don't we?
Yeah, and the survey was done in September last year, so it's not urgently urgent. So
No.
we can wait till next month.
I don't think it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Our tree surgeon went and had a look, but he said it was difficult to see because it is covered with ivy, is it, or something?
This thing is under the ivy on their side.
Yeah. So he said it wasn't that easy to see, but the tree surgeon, the tree officer is very thorough. So when he does actually have a look, I'll see what he comes back with.
It's just, the report says ashwood has the potential to be decayed rapidly by this thing. So you think it's almost a
Cautionary thing, yeah.
So we should probably just check.
Mm. Okay.
Projects, nothing to report. Workshop, previously approved, hire risk assessment schedule 31st to the 3rd. Yeah, that's been done. Nothing to report on EV charging unless anybody's heard anything else.
Nope.
They've approved the one in Amble, in the
Okay.
marketplace, but now they've put it on hold
Where have we put it?
for technical reasons in front of the press.
Okay.
So they've approved it, but they've said they can't do it for technical reasons yet. But they haven't said what those are. So, who knows?
St Peter's Church report sent contractors waiting quotes. 2 quotes received. Chasing the 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just going to raise an issue on this if I may.
Yeah.
I don't know what the procedure is, but at the end of the financial year, we get the round number of how much we've over or underspent presumably. And it struck me that on the 2 quotes, one of them was bigger than the other. But with lime walls and rubble in the middle, if you let them go too long, with one of the bigger quote, we're going to have to let it go over a few years. The other one, if we've got some surplus and we could do it in one hit, that's a more belt and braces approach that gives us, 10, 15, 20 years of happiness. And it strikes me that if we could do the lower one this financial year, with the money we've got in the budget already and some spare, that would maybe be it would be prudent to do that.
But this financial year, you don't really need.
22, 23,
Yeah,
the one coming up.
Yeah,
Because we've said we're going to put 10,000 in the budget for the walls, aren't we? On a sort of rolling program.
yeah.
But if we've got another 10 or 15 or whatever it is from other places and we can make it happen in 1 year, that seems a good idea. Stop them decaying any further.
Okay.
What's the process for that? When do we decide that we've got
I
money?
know that 3rd quote, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll wait for the 3rd quote. Well, Paul will be doing end of year soon, so
So
as soon as he's done end of year, I should imagine.
Next meeting, that should be,
Yeah.
we can address that then. Yeah, so the
But
quote.
full council, we've actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd only be able to discuss it and recommend it to full council, yeah.
So, and can we make a recommendation aiming to full council next month, that if we have a 3rd quote and we can find the money to do it in one hit, we recommend that's done, or do we need to wait for the 3rd quote to come in?
If that 3rd quote comes in, can that not be rolled up and put to full council as is, instead of going back to this thing?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that?
With the recommendation?
Yeah, because it's all been agreed that it has to be done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Why don't we do that? So if that 3rd quote comes in, and it comes in between now and full council agenda, that can go on full
Straight
council.
onto full council with that.
With that would help with that.
We recommend that we try and do it 22, 23 if we can.
Yeah, we happy with that?
Well, I can't say I'm happy with that only because it's not that I don't agree with the concept, but I'd be entirely dependent on seeing the accounts.
Yeah.
But we'll have
I
that
haven't got
today.
enough feel for, because we already allocated some movement of reserves into the expenditure budgets. So I need to feel comfortable with what's in reserves.
We've already agreed that the work needs doing, haven't we?
Yeah, but whether we
So it's whether
do
we
one
do it
in
phased.
phase.
Whether we do it phased,
Yeah,
Looking at the January budget and things were changed, we're well under in some areas, so we'll work at that till next full council, I suppose. So it's all
someone's
comes
going to
together.
escape on the path, I think, and things, isn't it? So
Oh, yeah.
it's easier to see it in the context of what the new budget looks like. And that within what reserves looks like. Because it is big amounts of money, big amounts of money.
Okay, cemetery, I saw that the volunteer warden has gone out on social media. Yeah, seen that out there. So anything else on the cemetery?
No, I'm waiting for the stampede of applications.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, that was out on the group's social media. Jones Strong Centre. Any other update on the Jones Strong Centre?
No, I need to speak to Emma tomorrow to see whether the solicitors come back about that. Ben, who we spoke to, has emailed and just said they'd had a meeting and they'd like us to outline all the options to them, including the financial implications, so that they can make a decision. But the first thing we've got to check really is whether we can actually do this.
Yeah.
Can't think how to phrase it, this loophole thing.
Okay. Market 213, I noticed that we've got some new traders coming in from April.
Yep, I think there's 3. There's a card, balloon and party stall, another bread one, and another, or a new bread one and a new cake one, I believe.
That's a bit of a reduction, because I know some people said to me, the market seems to be getting smaller and smaller.
I think the last few times that people have complained, it's been when it was windy, we had that really windy phase.
Yeah,
I didn't get down there this Thursday, I must admit, so I don't know how full, but I think it'll start improving now anyway with the weather. That usually happens, doesn't it? As soon as the weather improves, it brings more people out and more, yeah. But she is working on it, but she's got limited, Karen, who deals with it, has got limited mobility, so to actually go out and meet other councils, but she said if she emails them and maybe does a Zoom meeting, she will do that if necessary. But in terms of having an actual meeting where she goes out and meets them, she won't be able to do that. But she said she'll see what happens this spring and see what people are coming in.
I think, because obviously where I live, and I'm not in Edinburgh during the week much, but when I work, when I am here, I think that maybe we ought to think about for next year, the next council year, to really think about the market and reinvigorating our Thursday market a little bit, because sometimes it's not a criticism of the staff or anything like that. It's neither here nor there. You know, you get someone turns up, someone doesn't turn up. The fruit and veg guy is always there.
Yeah.
The cheese guy, but this end, it just doesn't seem quite balanced and sort of as much as it could be. It could be a pretty little market on a Thursday, but it's not quite there at that at the minute.
No.
Not got back to what it used to.
No.
Like pre-COVID.
I think the farmers market's doing well, but they've started to put their band in front of Tesco's, and I don't mind that. Because I think it should be a community event, people should be able to walk around. But I think the Thursday one, because of COVID, when everything was shut, that's not an excuse to it. People lost their way a bit. We lost a few people, didn't we? So it might be a priority for the next council year to think about the market in different times, that's all. Because we are a market town with a market chart since 9, whenever it was. I think it could, we could put some effort perhaps or a priority into it, maybe a little bit.
Thank you.
Well, I was talking to someone involved with the one at Stamford, and they said they're nowhere close back.
No.
In terms of stores, in terms of footfall, without footfall, people are reluctant to come back. It's not a, you want to go, make any money. So I just think it's slow to come back, very slow.
Northampton's doing the same, but they're being moved into a car park, which doesn't help.
Heath was going down Bridge Street. Heath was moving to Bridge Street.
It is bizarre though, the footfall in shops is increasing now.
Yeah.
But you think when did we go to lockdown? March 2020, there was a decline in footfall until that point. It's going back to where it was in 2019. So the footfall is a strange old thing, the way people behave.
That was their comment.
No, I think you're probably right.
So they haven't got the stores back because the market traders don't think the football is there.
Yeah, it's chicken and egg, so is it or isn't it?
I know.
It's not me. But when I go into town now, compared to what it was, Saturday I was out in town, had lunch with friends and stuff. The town was buzzing. It was really alive. There was a lot of people around.
Yeah, there were.
Every weekend now, I know the school will sort of, the school don't cease to break, but it was absolutely buzzing on Saturday. And the weather was good.
The weather was nice. It always brings people out, doesn't it? Yeah.
So there is something beginning to shift.
I went to go do my video for the Queen Victoria Hall today, and I couldn't, I was too busy.
Yeah.
I had to go and sit in the field and sit.
Okay, 2 and 4 town events. Councillor King, are you going to?
My only observation is, because I've been a little bit removed, and I must say the council has done a sterling job as the council leader and the staff are revamped, and everyone's really stuck in. And I like the advertising. I'm not quite sure what platinum fun in the field means, but I don't know why that was changed, but there you go. But I think we're off and running, to be honest. I think it's captured a bit of imagination now. So.
And we're on the map in terms of
Pray for
the
the
events.
weather.
We're on the map as well.
Yeah.
Good. On the proper map. 21402, Xmas Market.
I know you're not going to like this.
I thought she'd made a mistake.
No. No. Steph, because we've had it the last couple of years, she only does a certain amount of venues in one day. I think three's her maximum. Did she say 3? And she's got 2 bookings. So she said to me, do you think you'll be wanting us again this year? She said, because otherwise I'll end up saying yes to somebody else. So I said to her, I know it's early, but we need to get it on there if we want them again this year.
It's on our agenda in March.
I knew you'd.
Yes.
Proposal.
Yes, please.
Shopping day.
All those in favour,
Proposal. Those in favour.
do it. It's on the agenda. We've got over minutes now.
Honestly,
We're forward-thinking council.
When we spend next year's budget?
Pardon?
When we spend next year's budget?
It's just
Can
friendly
we?
booker though. We're not spending it, are we?
No, we're just booking her. Yeah, we're just booking her.
That's a discount.
And I think we've still got some in this year's budget that will cover the deposit. Yeah, that did make me laugh. I thought I'm going to get some stick for that, for putting that in, but reindeer lady.
they're local.
Yes, yeah.
They're out of the
It's a lovely farm actually to take your children to, because I don't think she opens
I
over
don't think my
public.
children will want to go
Oh, I think you might.
It's marvellous.
Totally will.
there. The 19-year-old.
She's just outside of Luton. She's got her husband's. He brought back 2 camels that somebody was getting rid of. He just came home one day and said, "We're having 2 camels," and they've got emus. I mean, some of the reindeer are absolutely amazing. It's fantastic.
Do a fact-finding mission for us.
Mm.
Take some buck children, tie on a chair.
I went to West Rural Lodge on Sunday, it's lovely.
Mm.
Um,
Right.
Okay, item 215, any other business to report only? I'll go around and say.
No, I've got nothing.
I'd just like to ask Lisa, because as I do bump into her in the building, and she did say that you did make the mistake of telling me that you and Nobby were going to get together and make a start on thinking about what the long-term schedule that we've asked for how it might come together or what it might look like. I just wondered if you could quickly report on that, please.
It's on my desk. We had a meeting. Where are we? Not last Friday, the Friday before? Or was it last Friday? We went through that current list that was pre-lockdown, ticked off quite a few bits and pieces that have obviously been done. There's still a few on there. So now all I've got to do is renew it and update it really. So it should be ready for the next estates meeting.
And will that be a forward plan? I'm thinking a 5-year forward plan.
We were talking that, weren't we, 5 years ago?
Yeah. So you,
Oh, you said yes, it's okay, you can stop there.
so do you want a survey done on all the buildings then, as in we go around all the buildings with the maintenance chaps and identify potentially things that will need doing?
It's almost like
It's a rolling.
red, amber, green, isn't it?
It's
like
a rolling works programme.
Yeah.
Akin to the way that the estates and the school run their estate.
Yeah. Well, that's how we'd done it before, because every time I had a meeting with Nobby and then John, I'd go through it with them and they say, we've done that. And then I'd be, yeah, but now on the end of this needs doing, this needs doing.
Yeah.
So that's how I viewed the rolling plan. But I didn't know whether you meant more so that you want us to go and look at potentially things that will need doing.
Well, that was the builder work. What's the issue with the building, and then how do we plan? So what needs doing now, what are we doing 2, what needs 3 and 5?
Right.
We'll get a better idea for budgetary.
So an example is like, if you look at the summer, the scaffolding goes up outside one of the houses 1 year, and they paint the outside.
Yeah.
So this building, we might decide in year 1 and year 3, we will redecorate the whole of this building
Inside.
as a stellar landing site for the town council.
Yeah.
And then similarly, the QBH is a big hall and things,
Yeah.
it's something like that.
Okay,
So we
yeah.
build it
Quite a
into
big
one-
piece of work.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
And
But once it's done, it should hopefully,
Yeah.
it'll inform us,
Yeah.
and then it'll help the budget for us. 'cause it's not
Hugely,
easy. Yeah.
hugely.
and Roger's still willing to help down there.
Oh,
He
excellent.
said
Yeah.
that
Mm.
He's keen.
Excellent.
Yeah, but, yeah, if you've got an updated version of what you currently use, Lisa,
Yeah,
I think we'd be happy to look at that first and just help you to understand maybe what, how we see that developing.
Yeah.
As a larger scale thing, but possibly in less detail.
Mm.
I suspect you're going to come to us with something in quite a lot of detail, which is not so much what we're thinking. It's
so you want
redecorate
to
front house.
redecorate,
Yeah,
right,
so we know
okay,
we're gonna,
Yeah.
and what's the time frame?
okay.
Go over there, Rebecca.
Thank you.
No, only to apologise actually, that I haven't done very much with the hub. I'm sorry that that's been the case. It's
You
been,
still sound ill.
it's not been an easy
I'm
few
sorry
months.
not to give
But,
She's just putting it on.
but I am sorry because it's something that I'm really interested in, but it has not been an easy few months, so I apologise for that.
Councillor Clark?
I was down at QVH today trying to get rid of some of those brochures, and they pointed out again that those lights down the corridor from the bar down to the backstage area are on all the time. And they were on again today when I was there.
Right,
So I don't know whether we need to put a switch on them, but with electricity prices being what they are.
I thought they were on sensors.
Well, whether the sensor's blown or whether they just need an on-off switch.
What do you call that's a corridor, isn't it, to the toilets?
Councillor Flynn?
I've got one, I don't know if it's a council matter, but last summer, when the sun came out, the ice cream guy turned up on a Saturday afternoon and parked up in the marketplace for about 3 hours. All for that, all for
Gino, or the other one?
I think it
That was
Gino.
this Saturday, wasn't
And
it?
he's doing
Yeah.
it again this Saturday, and there's nothing, I'm all for people making a few quid, but he's in breach of parking regs, but we haven't got traffic orders. So,
Parking on footpath.
no, he's parking properly.
Oh, parking in
He's
the back.
trading from the marketplace, that's
Okay.
what he's really doing.
Perhaps we need to have
I asked him about
Chat
it
and
the
show
first time, and he said
Was
that
it
he
Gino
got
that was
permission.
doing
I said, have you got a licence?
There's two at the moment, there's a wall.
there was a,
Yes, this ice wars.
ice cream wars.
So I
So
thought,
do we have someone needs to have a conversation with them?
I can phone Northants Council and find out what it is he
I'm
should
not
be
trying
doing.
to, I'm not trying to diminish trade, but if he's trading from the marketplace, then why wouldn't someone else rock up in a van? and start
Exactly, that's.
Trading from the
Are people paid
marketplace.
to be there?
Especially Saturday, because A, it was very busy in town, and B, the weather was, got warmer as the afternoon went on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I nearly went down and said, why do you put 20 quid in the charity box, mate?
Yeah.
I mean, like that.
I'm very loath, again, to add to this as well, but there is a group of mums as the summer is approaching that get nervous because, especially if you live up and around here, the ice cream vans literally do a loop and you have for an hour the jingles going
Yeah.
on and it can go on past 8 o'clock at night when you're trying to get the kids down. So it might be a word reminder if there's a conversation that's going to
No,
be
Fox are going forward this week.
Is it this week?
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. But I'm loath to say that as well, but there is a group of us that kind of go, oh, that time's coming again.
Gino, and he's outside through the club on Friday night. Okay, and nothing from
But
me.
if we could, is there somewhere else that we could suggest he does park his van like?
He shouldn't
Because
park,
they-
should he? He should just drive
the
around like they normally do. That's the point.
New road by the recreation ground, often in the summer, one of the parks there,
No, but he's not necessarily got a licence to park, is he? The idea of an ice cream van is to move, isn't it? Unless they've got, I know Gino parks outside the cricket club for about half an hour because they finish cricket at 8 o'clock on a Friday. And he feels
I
it's
don't know
it's
what
not
the
to go.
legislation
so
is.
That's what I'll find out from Northants. I'll
Yeah.
find out what he
Because
has
if you think
to.
like on the seafront or something,
Yeah.
you can often get them
Well,
parked
but
up.
they do pay, generally, they
Right,
pay a
exactly.
licence,
They
they
have
pay
a licence.
to be there.
to be there.
So it may well be that you can stay there, but you have to pay.
Have to
the
pay a
actual-
fee, yeah.
Yeah.
More than 20 quid that he suggested by councillor King.
I don't want to. I'll just end this conversation.
Right.
In the past, years ago, I have seen this sort of get out of hand.
Yeah.
with one person doing it. Before you know it, there's a guy with plants saying, oh, it's a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
There's about
absolutely.
50 million people in town, everyone's in town, do you want to
Oh,
buy
so we've got
plants?
another market.
Oh, and it can get a bit weird sometimes, you know, at all. And, you know, we want to keep the market, the town as it is on a Saturday. And, you know, I don't mind, park up outside the Rec, you've got a captive audience there on a sunny day.
Okay. I've got nothing. Lisa, have you got anything else to add?
No, that's everything.
Okay. 2047. We'll close the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Marvellous.
Thank you,
Thank you
Chair.
very much.
Probably want to get a lift in those two,